I think that might prove to be wrong.
Let's bring in to speak live on LBC News to Tim Oliver, lecturer in British politics and public policy at the University of Manchester. Hi, Tim. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear. Let's start with that breaking news. Extraordinary, really, but what's happened this week. On Monday, we saw the Prime Minister do his reset speech after the local elections. On Tuesday, we saw a raft of resignations and Labour MPs coming out against the Prime Minister, albeit 100 also supporting him. Then we have the King's speech and word that before the estate opening of Parliament, the Health Secretary's got a meeting with Sir Keir. That happens. We don't know the outcome of it. We're told it lasts about 10 to 17 minutes. And now the briefings that appear to be coming out from allies of Wes Streeting suggest that he's going to hand in his notice and trigger a leadership contest tomorrow. Take a deep breath. What's going on?
Well, what's going on is that the Labour Party have just gone through an apocalyptic set of devolved and local election results, and people are looking for ways to try and turn the ship around. The party's polling about half the level of the vote that it got in the 2024 general election, and people are worried, Labour MPs, Labour ministers are worried that they are going to lose and lose badly next time. And one of the levers they've got to pull right now is to try and change the leader. And so that's the debate that they've been having since the results started to land on Friday morning last week.
And we've heard supporters and allies of the Prime Minister, I'm thinking of David Lammy, calling for calm, reminding Labour MPs that they are in government right now. General election is quite a few years away. The general public might be wondering, why couldn't Labour MPs have this conversation behind closed doors? Does that suggest that they believe they won't be listened to at the top of number 10?
I would certainly say that they're right to believe that. Labour MPs don't appear to be listened to. If you look at some of the resignations already seen, in particular that of Jess Phillips in her resignation letter, she pointed out that she'd been trying to get a particular policy through for months and there was just no decision-making occurring. It wasn't that number 10 had said no, it's that no one was listening, no one was engaging, and it certainly appears that other Labour MPs feel that Keir Starmer and the people around him don't particularly care what they think and aren't working hard to listen to them.
Does it feel like Wes Streeting, if he does carry out what people are reporting tomorrow, does it feel like he's trying to get his hat into the race before Andy Burnham has any chance?
Yes, that's definitely part of it. I mean, if Wes Streeting starts the process for a leadership election tomorrow, there isn't time for Andy Burnham to become an MP and enter it. So anybody who wants to run for leader and not have to run against Andy Burnham, this is your window of opportunity, as it were. So Wes Streeting might be the first, but he may not be the last person if he does get the nominations together.
And that's a key point, isn't it? Because to oust a sitting Labour Prime Minister is a different set of rules, certainly from what the Tories had. Does that suggest that Wes Streeting, if he goes ahead with this, he must have the numbers?
He may think he has the numbers, but as Lyndon Johnson said, the most important skill in politics is the ability to count. We've seen in multiple instances in recent years in British politics of very senior politicians being unable to count to required numbers. He may think he has the support, but there's really only one way to find out, and that is to throw his hat into the ring and start that process.
Will it satisfy the Labour Party? Clearly there's fractions on whether to go further to the left rather than the current status quo. Won't Wes Streeting be a Starmer Mark II, just a different public face?
I would say that given what Wes Streeting has done as Health Secretary, there'll be quite a fair degree of continuity with the Starmer government in terms of tone, in terms of policy direction. And this probably won't be enough for a lot of Labour MPs who have watched their local council base evaporate and particularly watched a lot of Labour votes, if not necessarily Labour seats, go to the Greens. So lots of Labour MPs are very worried about this huge loss of votes they're seeing to the Greens and to a lesser extent the Liberal Democrats and Plaid Cymru, and are looking to bring those voters back. And they may not view Wes Streeting as the man to do that because of his record.
Do you think a Wes Streeting government would look at trying to bring in Andy Burnham in an advisory role or a different role?
I think anyone who wants to bring in someone who is so obviously ambitious to take their job as Labour leader would be, in the words of Sir Humphrey Appleby, brave.
Do you think that some Labour MPs will be feeling sorry for Keir Starmer, that he got that mandate in 2024? He's only 2 years in. He said that change would take time.
Doubtlessly. I mean, we saw a letter, I believe it was yesterday, for about 100 Labour MPs coming out together and saying now was not the right time for a leadership election. So there certainly is some form of support for, at least, if not for Keir Starmer, for not replacing him within the parliamentary party. However, how enduring that will be if there is actually a leadership election remains to be seen. There are a lot of very discontented Labour MPs.
What did you make of what was in the King speech itself?
There's 37 full bills and 3 draft bills. There's quite a range of things in there. A number of long-standing Labour commitments. So, for example, there's a bill to complete the nationalisation of the railways and create Great British Rail. There's a bill in there to create a new water regulator to replace Ofwat. There's also some other changes around public sector reform. So, for example, the abolition of police and crime commissioners, which have only been around for a decade and a half, but they want to replace them with a different accountability mechanism. So there's a broad range of things in there, a lot of them in the Labour manifesto. But whether or not Keir Starmer will be around to carry out this programme that he's written is a salient question right now. And
do you think that, regardless of streeting, having 11 unions affiliated with the Labour Party saying that his time has to come to an end, does that mean it really is the game's up for Starmer?
It certainly means that even if he doesn't have to resign or doesn't lose the leadership election that may be triggered tomorrow, that this is in effect a zombie government, that he's lost a lot of political authority. It'd be very hard for him, for example, to do a reshuffle or engage in a lot of the other normal political behaviour of prime ministers because he's lost so much authority and so much support.
And lastly, some are calling this a psychodrama, certainly allies of the prime minister. Which other political parties are benefiting the most from this Labour infighting?
I think any political party that is seeking to win seats, votes off the Labour Party could benefit from this. I think the obvious exception, going back to last week's results, is the Conservative Party, which is in an equally apocalyptic electoral position to the Labour Party, but unlike the Labour Party, have convinced themselves that everything is fine. But every other party, Reform, the Greens, the Lib Dems, the SNP, and Plaid, could well benefit from Labour engaging in a protracted internal debate over their leadership.
Tim Oliver, lecturer in British politics and public policy at the University of Manchester, thank you very much.
This is LBC News.
It's a really tough result.
We need to go back to being the party of the working class.
We can win in areas